It was a warm summer day on January 13, 2006, in Buenos Aires, Argentina. The sun shone brightly over the city as a call rang out to the local police at 12:38 p.m., alerting them to a robbery in progress at Banco Rio. Situated in a serene and affluent neighborhood of Argentina's capital, the bank held a considerable fortune within its vaults. Swiftly responding to the call, police officers arrived at the scene to discover a harrowing situation. For thieves had infiltrated the bank, taking 23 hostages captive. Acting promptly, the officers secured the perimeter, meticulously guarding the only two possible exits from the bank premises. For hours, communication and negotiations ensued between the police and the robbers, with the hope of reaching a peaceful resolution. However, as the afternoon progressed, an eerie silence descended upon the scene. The thieves suddenly ceased all communication, leaving the police perplexed and wary. At 7 p.m., with mounting tension and uncertainty, the police made a fateful decision. They chose to breach the walls of Banco Rio, prepared for the unknown. Stepping into the bank, the officers were confronted by a puzzling sight. The hostages remained unharmed, untouched by the robbers, but nearly 150 safety deposit boxes had been forcibly opened, their contents looted. And yet, the most confounding aspect of the scene was the absence of the thieves themselves. They had vanished without a trace. The authorities searched diligently, scouring every nook and cranny for any sign of the elusive culprits. Astonishingly, there was no evidence of forced entry. And the exits had been under constant surveillance by the police throughout the entire ordeal. The question echoed through the investigators' minds: how had these audacious thieves managed to pull off what would come to be known as the robbery of the century right under the watchful gaze of over 100 vigilant police officers? Thus began an extensive and thorough investigation into the infamous Argentinian bank heist. Banco Rio, now known as Banco Santander Rio, had been one of Argentina's premier financial institutions, with branches spanning the country. One such branch nestled in the tranquil and opulent neighborhood of San Isidro, situated in the northern suburbs of Buenos Aires. San Isidro's affluence was palpable, boasting not only financial prosperity but also 2 golf courses, a sailing club, and a jockey club, where the privileged residents reveled in their luxurious lifestyles. Argentina, by 2006, had already borne witness to a series of high-profile bank robberies. The nation was still reeling from a heist that had taken place a few years earlier in Ramallo, Argentina. In that incident, thieves had invaded a bank, taking hostages as a means to negotiate their own freedom from the police. Tragically, the situation escalated when the robbers attempted to use the hostages as shields, prompting the police to open fire. The ensuing chaos resulted in the death of 1 robber and, devastatingly, 2 innocent hostages. To compound matters, the entire bank heist had been broadcast live on television, exposing the nation to the horrifying events as they unfolded in real time. The country was left in a state of shock and disbelief. In light of the Ramallo case, the police response during the Banco Rio heist of 2006 was tempered by caution and reluctance to take drastic action. The memory of the previous tragedy loomed large, leading law enforcement to exercise restraint when faced with a bank robbery in progress. The hostage situation at Banco Rio, extensively covered by news cameras, demanded careful consideration and strategic maneuvering from the police. With over 100 officers assembled at the scene, every possible vantage point overlooking the bank was occupied. Snipers diligently observed the exits, ensuring no avenue of escape for the robbers. The bank seemed impenetrable, leaving the thieves seemingly trapped within its walls. Negotiations commenced between the police and the robbers, with one of the culprits assuming the alias Walter and taking charge of hostage release discussions. Surprisingly, the robbers appeared to be playing along with the police. They allowed the bank's security guard to exit unharmed, followed by a young man and a young woman. The situation seemed to be progressing favorably, giving the impression that the robbers were cooperating. Walter, codenamed the man in the gray suit, exhibited an unexpectedly jovial demeanor, considering the gravity of the circumstances. The hostages were treated with surprising kindness and empathy. In a gesture of unexpected warmth, the robbers even serenaded one of the bank employees with a rendition of Happy Birthday. Upon discovering it was his special day, an act that surpassed the thoughtfulness displayed by most people who rely on social media reminders to remember birthdays. Around 3:30 p.m., Walter contacted the police, requesting pizza for the remaining 23 hostages, who were reportedly hungry. Following this call, communication abruptly ceased. For 3 hours, the police were left in a state of uncertainty and confusion. Walter had vanished, leaving law enforcement authorities with no insight into the situation unfolding inside Banco Rio. Should they take decisive action and storm the bank, potentially endangering the hostages and risking a repeat of the tragic Ramallo incident? The police grappled with these critical decisions, persistently attempting to re-establish contact with Walter despite several missed calls. Finally, as the clock ticked and the pressure mounted, the authorities made a bold move. Special forces assembled, preparing to breach the fortified walls of Banco Rio. With a collective determination, they forced their way into the bank, their hearts pounding with a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. What awaited them inside would surpass their wildest imaginations. Upon entering the bank, the police were met with an astonishing sight. The hostages, numbering 23 in total, were scattered across various areas, including the lobby, mezzanine, and basement conference room. However, the thieves were nowhere to be found. The investigators scoured every inch of the premises, painstakingly checking if the robbers were masquerading among the hostages. Their efforts proved fruitless. It was in the basement that the true motive behind the audacious heist began to unfold. Out of the 400 reinforced steel safe deposit boxes housed in the basement, 143 had been forcibly cracked open. The thieves had targeted these boxes specifically, leaving behind a trail of emptied vaults. Their objective had been the valuables stored within, rather than cash. The Argentinian population, harboring deep-seated skepticism toward the country's banking system following the 2001 economic crisis, had sought refuge in safe deposit boxes as a means to safeguard their wealth. In San Isidro, a neighborhood renowned for its opulence, the safe deposit boxes at this particular Banco Rio branch were brimming with immense wealth. The investigation yielded a few tantalizing clues left behind by the thieves. Among the remnants, the police discovered an abandoned battery pack, a tool presumed to have been utilized to crack open the safe deposit boxes, and a row of toy guns. Astonishingly, the robbers had orchestrated this audacious bank heist without deploying real weapons. The investigators also stumbled upon a perplexing piece of evidence, a note left behind by the robbers, bearing the cryptic message, "In a neighborhood of rich people, without weapons or grudges, it's just money, not love." As Argentinians throughout the country had been captivated by the live television coverage of the robbery, witnessing the thieves execute an impossible escape only heightened the legends surrounding the heist. Public opinion and rumors swiftly painted the robbers as modern-day Robin Hoods, championed for stealing from the rich without inflicting harm. However, the beneficiaries of their actions seemed to be the thieves themselves. But how did the mastermind behind this meticulously planned heist, Fernando Araujo, orchestrate and execute such a seemingly flawless crime? Araujo had been deeply influenced by the Ramallo bank heist. Recognizing the potential for a perfect heist if the robbers never had to make their escape, a groundbreaking idea formed in his mind, and he shared it with his trusted friend Sebastian Garcia Bolster during a candid conversation. At the time, Araujo lived a somewhat unconventional life. He taught martial arts sporadically to make ends meet while cultivating marijuana for financial gain. A free-spirited artist navigating a recent breakup in true melodramatic fashion, Araujo sought solace by blacking out the windows of his loft and embracing an eccentric lifestyle. His idiosyncrasies, combined with his fascination with bank robberies, had led him to consume every available piece of media on the subject, from movies and shows to documentaries of real-life heists. Araujo sought to dissect the mistakes made by both fictional and real robbers, employing their lessons to craft the blueprint for the perfect heist. In 2004, Araujo finally arrived at a comprehensive plan, one that required the mechanical and technical expertise of his friend Bolster. Bolster, initially hesitant due to his legal and stable lifestyle, eventually succumbed to the allure of Araujo's audacious vision. Disenchanted with the banking system after witnessing his family lose their fortunes during economic downturns, Bolster nurtured a resentment toward bankers. Araujo, promising a heist devoid of violence and authentic weaponry, convinced Bolster to join forces and bring their plan to life. The preparations for the heist involved meticulous planning and the recruitment of a crew comprising experienced thieves, financiers, and individuals with specialized skills. The heist required accessing the storm drains beneath Buenos Aires, which conveniently led directly to the river. The thieves would enter a storm drain in close proximity to the bank and dig a tunnel connecting it to the bank's basement. Bypassing the bank's nighttime alarm system presented an immense challenge, far more intricate than simply digging a hole. Bolster, leveraging his knowledge gained from working part-time at a bank, devised a strategy to circumvent the alarm entirely. The plan was simple yet audacious. The thieves would rob the bank's basement safe deposit boxes during the daytime, a period when the alarm system remained disarmed, but the bank bustled with activity. To divert attention from their activities, they would stage a fake bank robbery on the upper floors, creating a smokescreen to obscure the actual robbery occurring in the basement. It was a plan that teetered on the edge of madness and brilliance, a feat that seemed too outrageous to succeed. Araujo and Bolster painstakingly assembled their crew, recruiting experienced bank robbers, a getaway driver, and a fixer to address any unexpected obstacles. In Luis Mario Vitetzel Lanes, a retired and wealthy Uruguayan thief, they found a financier and problem solver who invested $100,000 into the operation. The crew resembled a cast of characters from an Ocean's 11 film, each member bringing their unique set of skills and experiences to the heist. One critical aspect of their preparation involved understanding the mechanics of cracking open the safe deposit boxes. Bolster rented a safe deposit box at another Banco Rio branch, meticulously studied the brand's construction, and ordered multiple boxes for experimentation. Through extensive trial and error, he discovered that a specially designed jackhammer could break through the locks with a reasonable noise level. Bolster ingeniously devised a portable and reassemblable jackhammer, enabling it to be transported discreetly to the bank and concealed until needed. However, as any seasoned viewer of heist movies can attest, the greatest challenge lies in successfully extricating valuable and heavy goods from the targeted location. Aware of this hurdle, Bolster devised a plan to transport the stolen loot through the water-filled drains by utilizing Zodiac boats. Unfortunately, the low water levels within the drains threatened to scuttle their getaway plans. Undeterred, Bolster fabricated a wooden dam in his workshop, disassembling it before reconstructing it within the storm drains over several days. On the morning of the heist, the 7 men assembled for a brief coffee gathering, fortifying themselves for the monumental task ahead. Bolster made his way to the storm drains, embarking on an underground journey toward the bank. Julian Zalo Echeverria assumed the role of the getaway driver, positioned at a predetermined rendezvous point. Vitet and an enigmatic figure named Luis drove a stolen car to the bank's garage, while the remaining crew members approached the bank in another stolen vehicle. The stage was set, and the heist was set in motion. Beto and Doc, the initial infiltrators, brandished a toy gun, a stolen possession of Beto's 9-year-old son. The unsuspecting bank patrons dropped to the floor, overwhelmed by the illusion of danger. Araujo, disguised in a baseball cap, ski mask, long blonde wig, and sunglasses, entered the bank, seemingly unnoticed. Bolster had already reached the end of the tunnel, hiding in the darkness beneath the bank premises. In a synchronized operation, Doc descended into the basement, breaking through the wall separating the bank from Bolster's tunnel. Bolster emerged, ready to assist with the robbery, his presence unbeknownst to those inside the bank. Meanwhile, Luis and Beto took control of the hostages, ensuring their compliance and preventing any attempts at resistance. Vitet assumed the role of Walter, engaging the newly arrived police officers in an elaborate ruse, convincing them that the robbers had been cornered in a heist gone awry. The masterstroke of Araujo's plan lay in staging a visible botched bank robbery upstairs, acting as a smokescreen for the invisible operation unfolding beneath. The tet artfully released a few hostages one by one, fostering the illusion that the police held the upper hand and that the remaining hostages could be secured through negotiation alone. Araujo had dictated a strict 2-hour timeline for the entire operation. Bolster swiftly assembled his jackhammer-like device in a mere 20 minutes, dedicating an additional hour and a half to cracking open the safe deposit boxes. Upon receiving the signal from Araujo, the tet joined the others in the basement. The robbers meticulously gathered the looted valuables, while Araujo and Doc went to great lengths to eliminate any trace of their presence. Bleach was used to destroy potential DNA evidence, and fistfuls of hair, sourced from a local barbershop floor, were scattered to further confuse the investigators. Such details might seem unconventional, but they played a crucial role in obscuring the truth. As the thieves made their way back through Bolster's tunnel, they meticulously concealed any evidence of the breached wall, expertly hiding the opening behind a large, weighty cabinet. Boarding the Zodiac boats, the crew navigated the water-filled drains. Though a motor malfunctioned, Araujo had planned for contingencies, ensuring the presence of paddles. With synchronized strokes, they propelled themselves to the designated getaway van, located 10 blocks away. Utilizing a previously tested pulley system, they hoisted the bags filled with stolen goods from the storm drain and swiftly departed while the police remained convinced that the robbers were cornered within Banco Rio. As the police eventually stormed the bank, the robbers were already ensconced in the comfort of their homes, watching the live television report of their audacious heist and finally savoring the long-awaited pizza they had requested earlier. Bolster, astutely aware of the futility of utilizing stolen credit cards, dispersed them across various streets far from the gang's escape route. This cunning tactic not only obscured any clear trail leading back to the robbers, but also generated numerous false leads for the police. Each time a passerby attempted to use a stolen credit card, law enforcement would be compelled to investigate, further muddying the waters. The frustrated police, exhausted and lacking viable leads, found themselves publicly humiliated, a sensation akin to that of a Love is Blind contestant spurned on national television. While the robbers managed to escape with their spoils, fate had other plans in store. One critical misstep, a moment of arrogance and indiscretion, would unravel the carefully crafted heist. Beto, in a moment of boastful indiscretion, divulged the details of the robbery to his wife, Alicia. Unfortunately for Beto, Alicia was not only aware of his infidelity but also held a deep grudge against him. When some of the stolen valuables went missing from their house, a colossal fight erupted between Beto and Alicia, leading to the exposure of the entire heist. 5 weeks later, Beto's fate took a turn for the worse. Pulled over by the police while driving with his mistress, he found himself in the clutches of the law. Alicia, fueled by her rage, had disclosed the entire heist, identifying Beto, Araujo, Bolster, the tet, and Zalo Echeverria as the perpetrators. She had witnessed them working on the getaway van in her garage, providing concrete evidence of their involvement. Interestingly, she did not implicate Doc and the mysterious Uruguayan Luis, as she had never encountered them within her home, and they had not betrayed her trust through infidelity. The men faced trial and were ultimately sentenced to jail, though some have since been released. Their audacious heist, forever etched in Argentinian history, continues to captivate the imagination. The tale serves as a reminder that even the most meticulously planned crimes can be undone by a single foolish mistake. As for the perfect crime, it remains an elusive feat, perpetually tempting the imaginations of those who dare to dream of orchestrating the impossible. So, do you possess the audacity and ingenuity to conceive of and execute the perfect crime? If so, we implore you to reveal your identity and share your detailed plan in the comment section below.